Investigate a suspicious device near Pittsburgh State University.
A new threat puts the U.S. Capitol on alert. I'm Natalie Brand with the intelligence bulletin that's caused heightened security this week.
And the royal rift continues with new allegations that Meghan Markle bullied staff within the royal household.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Kansas Highway Patrol removes a suspicious device near the Pitt State campus. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, the investigation continues into a suspicious device found near PSU. Campus cops discovered the device around the 1500 block of Joplin Street just before 3 p.m. on Wednesday. They called assistance from the Pittsburgh PD and the Kansas Highway Patrol Hazardous Device Unit. KHP troopers left with the device. No further details have been released. In downtown Kansas City, Missouri, police blew up a suspicious package found Wednesday evening near the federal courthouse. After evacuating the area, the department's bomb squad used a controlled detonation to disable the suspicious package. No one was injured. Police did not describe the package or say why it was considered suspicious. Security is on high alert at the U.S. Capitol after law enforcement agencies warned of potential violence today. The threat centers around the conspiracy theory that March 4th is the actual day American presidents should be inaugurated, and that today is the day former President Donald Trump will be restored to power. Natalie Brand has more details from Capitol Hill.
Threats to the Capitol prompted House Democrats to move up a vote on a policing reform bill named in honor of George Floyd to Wednesday night.
The bill is passed.
The House canceled votes on Thursday following revelations of a new FBI and Department of Homeland Security bulletin, which warns of more violence with little or no warning. The threat is driven by a QAnon conspiracy theory that former President Trump will be inaugurated Thursday, March 4th.
We are working with our law enforcement partners as well as the National Guard to provide a robust security posture around the campus.
U.S. Capitol Police say they're prepared for any potential threats towards the Capitol complex or members of Congress.
In the first 2 months of 2021, there has been over a 93% increase in the threats to members compared to the same period last year.
The new bulletin obtained by CBS News mentions militia plans to take control of the U.S. Capitol and remove Democratic lawmakers.
The alert comes as intelligence officials testified on Capitol Hill Wednesday, telling senators the January 6th assault could embolden others.
What message do you believe this is sending to other domestic violent extremists, let alone foreign adversaries?
Anytime an adversary is successful, others pay attention, and so we're worried that this would be an inspiration.
Well, I think President Trump has a responsibility to tell them to stand down.
Texas Republican Michael McCall said the threat is credible as Capitol Police call on law enforcement partners throughout the nation's capital in preparation for possible unrest this week. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Capitol Police also say militia violent extremists have allegedly threatened to attack the U.S. Capitol with explosives during President Biden's first address to a joint session of Congress, with the intent to kill as many lawmakers as possible. Well, here in the 4 states, we're in for another beautiful day today. Michael Hayslip joins us with the first look at the forecast.
Hard to believe, Tanya. It was just, 3 weeks ago we were talking about temperatures. Remember we talked about our average low for that time period from February 12 to 17? Our average low was 1.6 degrees?
Wow.
When we were doing the math yesterday. Look at this here at the noon hour. We're pushing up into the high 60s already. 68 in Parsons, 65 in Neosho, and 67 right now in Lamar's. The SKYWATCH storm tracker stays absolutely pristine. We're starting to see a little cloud cover build out to the far west right there. That's that low pressure system that we were kind of eyeballing that worked off the Pacific coast. It's taken a while to get over the Rockies, but it's inching closer and closer, but it won't really play a part in our weather for today, because it's still got to get through western Kansas and through the central portion of the Sunflower State. We are seeing it revert back to rain. Earlier this morning, it was all snow there in the elevated areas. And you can tell the dividing line of the color contour almost carved out an inverse L as far as where our colder temperatures are. Now, sometimes when we get that collision course, especially this time of year, we talk about thunderstorm activity. That will not be the case with this precipitation. It's going to end up being very, very light and actually not going to affect the entire 4 states. Before we get there, let's talk about our afternoon, where we're going to throw up some 70s on temperature map. Easily throw up some 70s. Now, action begins just about midnight, and it starts with increased cloud cover, and that's when we begin to see a little bit of the rain try to roll in, but it's really going to want to stay through portions of the western 4 states and the southern 4 states through early Friday morning, and so light shouldn't affect any of our travel. Now, as we get into the afternoon, we see a little bit wanting to filter into the central portion before it dives off to the southeast, but it's not going to be one of those where everybody gets a taste of it, and we're not going to have to worry about anything severe. However, as we cruise through a nice weekend, I have been pointing out Tuesday because that will give us a chance for a little thunderstorm activity. First time we've had that in a long time. And of course, we'll have the latest on all the severe weather on the SKYWATCH weather app. So coming up here in just a little bit, I'm going to remind you why you can just grab your phone, open up your camera, take a picture of our QR code, and that's downloadable for free for all your mobile devices as we find ourselves in the midst of severe weather preparedness week. And like I said, Tanya, don't think that everybody missed it right there. I'm going to bring it back when I see you in just a bit.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Michael. Financial help for tens of millions of Americans could be on the way soon. President Biden and Senate Democrats have compromised on who will be eligible for stimulus checks. The latest unemployment numbers from the federal government show jobless claims inched up last week. This as President Biden and the Senate Democrats agreed to limit which Americans receive a $1,400 stimulus check. Full checks will now go to individuals making $75,000 or less a year. Smaller checks will go to people making up to $80,000 a year. Married couples who make up to $150,000 will get $2,800 for a couple, $1,400 for each child. Smaller checks are capped at couples making a combined $160,000. About 9 million households that got stimulus checks last year will not get checks this time around, but about 150 million households will get a bigger check than last time. State lawmakers are moving quickly to create a low-interest loan program for Kansas cities to help them recover from a spike in utility costs from last month's intense cold snap. A state House committee approved a bill on Wednesday that would allow the state to loan $100 million of its idle funds immediately to cities that have community-owned electric and natural gas utilities. Sub-zero temps led to a big spike in demand for natural gas, and other problems such as freezing equipment made gas hard to obtain, causing prices to jump. Cities, including Altamont in southeast Kansas, now face natural gas prices that are more than the city's annual budget. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, a royal rift.
A royal family feud as Prince Harry and Meghan prepare to break their silence. I'm Tina Kraus with fallout from a bombshell interview that hasn't even aired yet.
And later, we're making anytime potatoes in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Oprah Winfrey's upcoming interview on CBS with Prince Harry and his wife Meghan is raising tensions between the couple and Britain's royal family. Tina Kraus has the story from London.
You know, for me, I'm just really relieved.
Prince Harry and Meghan's tell-all TV special has sparked a huge royal rift.
How do you feel about the palace hearing you speak your truth today?
I don't know how they could expect that after all of this time, we would still just be silent if there is an active role that the firm is playing in perpetuating falsehoods about us.
The firm is a nickname Brits sometimes use for the royal family. Royal watchers say the gloves have come off.
I think you could probably only describe that relationship now between the two sides as all-out war.
Royal aides exposed allegations in a UK newspaper that after Meghan Markle married Prince Harry in 2018 and moved into the royal household, she bullied staff using, quote, emotional cruelty and manipulation, and drove 2 aides out the door. Prince Harry and Meghan say they're victims of a calculated smear campaign, but Buckingham Palace officials say they're investigating the claims. The palace issued a rare statement saying, "We're clearly very concerned about the allegations in the Times. Our HR team will look into the circumstances outlined in the article."
We all know what the British press can be like.
Prince Harry told James Corden on the Late Late Show last week the UK media is toxic.
I did what any husband and what any father would do, is like, I need to get my family out of here.
In just days, the Duke and Duchess will reveal more about why they broke ties with the royal family. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
You can watch Oprah with Meghan and Harry, a primetime special, this Sunday at 7 p.m. right here on KOAM. Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
If you're looking for the perfect side dish, look no more. We've got it, and it goes with just about everything.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
Another gorgeous early March day here in the 4 states as the low pressure system that we've been talking about for the past several days is progressing. You might got to remember, yesterday this thing was hanging off of the Pacific coast, hadn't even made landfall in Los Angeles as of yet. Now, here it is right now, hanging over Denver. Saw a good amount of snow from it as it got over the Rockies, and now we're starting to see it come back into rain. But we're not going to even worry about that until we get into about midnight to noon tomorrow. So for the time being, sit back and enjoy a whole bunch of sunshine and abnormally warm temperatures. Check this out outside the mothership. Beautiful, beautiful March Thursday as we sit at 68 degrees. This humidity has been something else. Early this morning, we were up about 75%. That's not too bad, considering past couple of mornings, we were down about 45%. Now, here's the key factor when you get that. It actually reduced our fire risk for the morning hours. Now, as we push to the afternoon, we've gotten so dry and so low, we need to bring back that fire risk. Of course, it's not just us. That's the system we were talking about. And then as you press down below that, extremely, extremely low humidity numbers, especially for this time of the year. And that's the key factor is we don't have the Gulf moisture lifting up from the south. And we got that Pacific front moving in. It just hasn't fed us anything that gets us out of the fire weather. Our weather almanac for this March 4th would have a record high of 77 degrees dating back to 1961. So even though we'll be up into the 70s, won't quite challenge it. And actually remember that. I remember that 2002. That was a brutal, brutal March. 65 right now in Pittsburgh, 67 in Anderson, and already 68 in Chanute. Now, on top of the humidity, we've also got to pay attention to our wind. The nice thing is it's receded just a little bit, but as that low pressure moves in from the west, we are talking about 20 to 17 mile per hour gusts picked up in Wichita and Salina. And so as that thing moves toward us, it is going to be a little bit of a breezy afternoon and evening here in the 4 states, and eventually some cloud cover working in from the SKYWATCH storm tracker. It's all contingent on how fast this thing wants to move, and she is not in a hurry as of yet. Still going to throw up some 70s here for the afternoon hours, and then by the time we get close to sunset, we see the beginning of cloud cover that moves in. It's not necessarily a bad thing, because remember, that'll trap our Thursday heat and carry us into Friday. But we also have a cold front on top of the rain that's going to come with it. We're not looking at anything severe. I don't even think we'll even see any lightning with it, quite frankly. And as the rain moves in from about midnight to noon, we'll go western portion and southern part of the 4 states. As you move east, as you move north, actually going to be able to stay quite dry. As we push toward the noon hour, little bit of expansion into the central portion of the 4 states. But as you can tell by the color contour popping up there on Future Track, we have no worry about any flooding concerns, and this thing's going to drop off by the time we get into Friday evening. As a matter of fact, Friday night into Saturday becomes very, very clear, and our temperatures rebound just about like that, as we're going to be able to throw up high 50s on Saturday, 60 on Sunday. As we progress into next week, very warm and nice on Monday. Then we got some thunderstorm activity that's headed our way on Tuesday, and that is why we throw up the old QR code for the SKYWATCH weather app. All you have to do is grab your mobile device, grab your phone right now, take a picture of that, and what it's going to do is deliver you to the old app store. And when I say store, remember, SKYWATCH weather app is downloadable for all your mobile devices, and it is free. We are in the midst of severe weather preparedness week. Great time to get ready for not only the rest of March, but the entire spring as well. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Michael. And we take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Hull Technician Senior Chief Neil Hudson in the U.S. Navy. Sailor hails from Parsons, Kansas. He served aboard the USS White Plains supply ship in the South China Sea during Vietnam from 1968 to 1970. To Neil Hudson, we thank you, our 4-state hero. Today we're making the perfect potato casserole for any occasion. It pairs with just about any weeknight dinner and even with a company fancy meal. Howard shows us how to make his anytime potatoes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
When it comes to dinner, Whether you're just throwing something together during the week or you're planning on fussing all weekend long, you want to make sure you have a good go-along to round out the meal. So when we came up with this creamy potato casserole, which is fast and fancy, I knew I needed to share it with you. We start by mixing a can of cream of chicken soup with a bit of butter. Now, we add some sour cream and a few off-the-shelf spices. After it's mixed well, we add some frozen hash brown potatoes that we've thawed, and we toss everything together, making sure the potatoes are well coated. This goes into a baking dish, and for the part that really makes it stand out, we top it with a mixture of seasoned breadcrumbs mixed with a bit of Parmesan cheese. Now we'll pop this into the oven until it's heated through and the topping is golden and crispy. And whether you serve this with a burger or roast pork, you can't go wrong. It's creamy, it's satisfying, and it goes with everything. To get the recipe for our anytime potatoes, simply visit our website. I know you'll be glad you did. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an amazing anytime way for you to say, ooh, it's so good, with Callie.
Can't go wrong with those. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4 state market prices.
Gorgeous Thursday afternoon as our clouds do begin to grow a little bit this afternoon and the evening hours. Scattered rain on Friday, mainly for the western and southern portions of the 4 states, so it won't be widespread. No threat of anything severe, and then a delightful weekend, high 50s and low 60s.
What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, Americans are spending more time than ever in front of their screens thanks to remote work, remote learning, and more streaming for entertainment. But a nationwide campaign set for tomorrow is going to give people an opportunity to unplug. Plus, a $100 million loan program has been created in Kansas to give cities facing huge utility bills some relief. We're going to hear from the city of Humboldt on why they plan on applying. And Mercy Hospital is now accepting walk-ins for COVID vaccines this week. Hope you join us for those stories. A lot more. It's all coming up on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dal. Thank you for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.